Alright, hey guys, welcome to the video. If you're new here, my name is Curtis, and today I'm going to show you a few ways to smell elegant and classy this spring. So I've gone through my collection and I've chosen 5 fragrances that will do the job perfectly. So if you're curious to hear my thoughts and opinions on these fragrances, then let's go. First up, from the house of Parfums Dusita, we have Montri. Man, so this one is just a polished, opulent, and elegant rose oud fragrance. You do have a bit of dried fruits in here, which is a very unique accord which the perfumer created just for this fragrance, which is giving it quite a spicy feel. And then in the mid, you get some kind of like powdery, slightly creamy orris butter that's starting to push forward, and that's combined very beautifully with the rose in here. And then you have some oud that starts to push forward a bit more in the base of this fragrance, but the oud in here is very likable. It's not really funky at all. There's a very minimal slight funk to this, but it is blended together masterfully, and I absolutely love this fragrance. So the house of Dusita is a perfume house that I don't have a whole lot of experience with. I smelled a few others from the line, but I'd love to score a sample set because I really enjoy this one. You know, kind of like I said, and that's why I made this list. This one just screams elegance and class, and yeah, it is a stunner from the house. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Montri by Parfums Dusita. Next up, from the house of Diptyque, we have Orpheon. So this one is just a very powdery, fresh, floral, and woody scent. It is quite elegant. You do have some juniper berry in here, which is almost kind of giving this like a metallic type of freshness. And then you also have some jasmine in here, which is definitely giving off that powderiness. Sometimes when jasmine's used in fragrance, it can either give off kind of a powdery type of vibe, or it can come off almost animalic or indolic. But this, and the way it's used in this fragrance, is it's kind of giving off it is a powdery bomb. So there's that powderiness to this fragrance. So if you're not a fan of powdery fragrances, you may not like this one, or you may want to stay away from this one. But for me too, and I've mentioned this on the channel quite a few times, like I'm not the biggest fan of powdery fragrances, but this one works. Like, it's powdery freshness, it smells really good. And when you push into the dry down, I mean, it is beautiful. And that powderiness is always there, but combined with that freshness, it almost kind of gives off like a laundry-like vibe, but there's a lot more depth and complexity here. But this is a gorgeous one, and this is the only fragrance I have from the house of Diptyque, but I'm definitely looking, I would love to dive into the house a bit further and kind of see what else they have to offer. But Orpheon is a great one, and it's an easy wear. And the Japanese, here in Japan, for the house of Diptyque, Orpheon is their most popular fragrance. A lot of Japanese gravitate towards this fragrance for whatever reason. But yeah, it's their #1 seller here in Japan. But this is a great one, and definitely one to check out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Orpheon by Diptyque. Next up, from the house of Nicolai, we have New York Intense. Man, so this one is just a very classy, woody, aromatic fougere. Some might say that it's a bit, old-fashioned, but for me, this one, definitely has more mature vibes, but it doesn't smell dated by any means. You have your classic fougere notes like lavender and oud moss in here, but you also have some animalics like civet and castoreum, but those are pushed quite far into the background, and to be honest, to my nose, I don't really pick up a whole lot on them, if any at all. But this is such a gorgeous wear, and performance is quite good with a fragrance like this. So for me, I do like 1 or 2 sprays and I'm good to go. But this is such a gorgeous and classy wear, and this is one of my favorites from the house for sure. So if you're looking for like a classy, elegant style of fougere, this is definitely one to check out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of New York Intense by Nicolai. Next up, from the house of Les Indemodables, we have Rose de Jamal. So this is quickly becoming one of my favorite rose fragrances in my collection. This one is so good, such a natural green, fresh red rose. You also have some lavender and mint which is giving that fresh kind of aromatic quality. And off my skin, this cedar wood in here really starts to pop. But that cedar wood never kind of dominates, and it doesn't necessarily overtake the rose, but it does come in quite prominently. But the rose still remains a dominant player off my skin. And this is such a deep, just sexy rose in my opinion. Like, it just has that freshness that just will work perfectly during the spring. And you could probably even pull this one off in the summer. It's a gorgeous wear and definitely one to check out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Rose de Jamal by Les Indemodables. And finally, from the house of Bastille, we have Paradis, Nuit. Man, so this one is such a gorgeous soapy fragrance. If you like soapy fragrances, then this is one to definitely check out. And this one is quite unique to my own collection because it contains the note of French soap. So I don't have any other fragrances that contain that particular note in my collection. But man, and this is more than just a soapy scent. It does smell soapy. You do have a bit of sweetness in here. I think there's a bit of sandalwood. So it kind of almost gives it like a slight creaminess. But as you dry down, this one becomes just deep and a bit more rich and complex. There's quite a lot going on in here, but I really, really love this one from the house of Bastille. And if you're not familiar with this house, one thing that I love about them is that all of their fragrances are 95% natural. So if you go to the website, you can see on there that they list all of the ingredients. So they have their natural ingredients, and then they have their synthetic or vegan ingredients listed. So you can go there, check it out, so that way you can see what you're putting on your skin. But I really like the direction that Bastille is going in. There's a big thought about the environment whenever they're creating these fragrances. And man, they smell amazing. I think this one is probably my favorite from the house, but I still need to explore this house a bit more. But so far, this one is my favorite, and I actually wore this one yesterday to work. You can see this is just a little 15 mil, but I'm already starting to put a little dent in this one. And yeah, I wore this one to work, and my boss absolutely loved it. I got some compliments from the people in the room. They all really, really enjoyed this one. And yeah, I love this too. It's a wearing experience that, man, is quite unique. I do have other soapy fragrances in my collection, but this one is just really, really unique. It's a gorgeous wear and definitely one to check out. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Paradis Nuit by Bastille. All right, you guys, so that's all I have for you for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content. And let me know down in the comment section, what fragrances do you have in your collection that you go to when you want to smell elegant and classy, especially in the springtime? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Well, hope you guys are staying healthy and well, and I'll see you in the next video.